Hello, everyone, and welcome. Our class today is on divine friendship. Let's start with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Help us, Divine Mother, to see thee as our closest friend. Bless us, Master, that we feel thy divine friendship guiding our lives and blessing us until we reach our home in thee. Bless our class, our satsang today with thy divine presence. We are thine, be thou ours. Om Shanti, Shanti. We'll hear a song by Swamiji and about a 4 or 5 minute excerpt from a talk by Swamiji on this topic. Welcome again to everyone.
Dearest friend, in the blend of your life's path with mine, I have found love is crowned with freedom's vine. Sorrows all disappear when friendship's gaze is clear. May our sight, shining light, toward God incline. Dearest friend, in the blend of your life's path with mine, I have found love is crowned with freedom's vine. Sorrows all disappear when friendship's gaze is clear. May our sight, shining light, toward God incline. May our sight, shining light, toward God incline.
When you try to identify yourself with other people, when you try, in other words, to spiritualize your relationships and not to come at them as, well, here am I, Joe Brown, and there are you, Susie Queen, and therefore we'll try to find some way of communing with each other through words. Emerson put it beautifully when he said, men descend to meet. We meet on a human level talking like this, but even in a lecture, this is something that Yogananda taught us to do. Don't just talk. Don't just give people words. Try to give them your vibrations. When you mix with people, try to give them who you really are inside. Try to make them feel your consciousness. Make them feel your vibrations. I had a really interesting experience in Ananda some months ago. I hadn't actually tried it to this extent before. I was sitting and meditating with the group, with the community, and I thought, well, let me try to meditate not only with them, but in a sense for them. In other words, I tried to feel that I was in all their consciousness, and that as I was meditating, I was lifting them all in my meditation. And several people told me that they had a much deeper meditation that way. Try to bless people. You may say, well, who am I to bless anybody? Who are you to bless anybody? You are God Himself. That's who you are. Sure, you don't look like it. You look in the mirror and you say, is that God? No, that isn't God. That's not the God I'm talking about. But deep inside you is God. And that is finally your reality. No wave can say, I am the ocean, but every wave has a right to say that the ocean is my whole reality. That it is the ocean that has become this body and this ego. The more you relate to people in that way, the more you will find wonderful things happening to you. You will find, for one thing, that total strangers will be attracted to you. You'll find that wherever you go in the world, you will have friends. They won't know why they want to be your friend, but the reason they want to be your friend is that you are relating to them on that level which they themselves want. A fascinating thing in the life of Paramhansa Yogananda, something that's sort of coming out more and more as I meet people who just had a little contact with him, is the impact that just seeing him in the street had on their lives. One man recently, he was a gas station attendant up at Nevada City, and some of our people from the community, from Ananda community, drove into the gas station and asked him to fill her up. No very great spiritual meeting. And this man just happened to look through the window and he saw Yogananda's photograph there. And he was a big, husky fellow, probably 250 pounds or so. You wouldn't expect sentiment out of such a person. As soon as he saw that picture, he began to weep. He said, "You know, I had a gas station down in Los Angeles, and this man came into my gas station. I never knew who he was. Who is he? Just seeing him changed my life. I've never been able to forget that face." Some woman told me that she was walking with her husband and she saw Yogananda through the window of a restaurant. And she said, "That's the most spiritual face I've ever seen." How could one person have that kind of impact on other people? Because he knows himself. There's a song I've written, I should have sung it earlier. A line from it goes, "Who knows himself knows all men as brothers." The more you get to know who you are, the more you see that in everybody else. You don't see just personality. You regret when they don't live up to their potential, but at the same time you see that there is that potential there, that every one of them is a child of God. Anandamoyi Ma, a great woman saint that Yogananda wrote about in his Autobiography of a Yogi, I spent time with her in India, and there was one time when she was just walking in the countryside and she stopped by under a tree near a village, and some villager passed by and was attracted and just stood there and talked with her for a while, and before he knew it, somebody else came and he was attracted. Then somebody went and started to tell other people about this total stranger sitting under a tree outside their village. By the time she'd been there an hour, there were 1,000 people gathered around her. And then it came time for her to get up and leave, and they were weeping as if they were losing their own mother. How is it possible for somebody, a total stranger, to awaken that kind of love? The less you have of yourself, the more you have of God.
Welcome again to everyone. It's so wonderful to hear Swamiji and these beautiful stories about Master and Anandamoyi Ma, and it makes us realize that God's love can flow through any of us to touch others as friends, to touch this world with light, with blessings, with peace, to be an instrument of God's love and blessings. And that's the topic for today. I would like to start with the reading from, this is in the chat, or will be in the chat, from Why I Love My Guru. This is very brief, but it's very sweet. Swamiji wrote this. I love my Guru, as he himself wrote about his own Guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, as the spoken voice of silent God. He was ever and is now, more than ever, my nearest, dearest companion. If I am right, I feel his inner smile. If I am wrong, I feel his inner encouragement to do better. He is on my side in every struggle against delusion. Could anyone be a better friend than that? And then from Songs of the Soul, as you read in Autobiography of a Yogi, when Master came to America, his guru told him, everywhere you go, even in a wilderness, you will find friends. So this was the poem Master wrote on coming to the new old land, America. Sleeping memories of friends, once more to be, did greet me, sailing o'er the sea. Sensing my coming, the pilgrim land to adore, the distant sleeping shore lay in the twinkling night. Dim through the vanished light, the breeze wafted strong, strange thoughts that my brain did throng, hopes sweet and richly wrong. The raven-winged gloom did perch on the portals of my mind and search my soul, my strength to awe. Yet crowds with joy, oh, then I saw of phantom friends, now come to lend their cheer and end my fear. They're such beautiful words, and for all of us, we have to realize that it really is God who's behind our friends, behind our loved ones, behind our family, behind our guru bhais, behind all the loving things that happen in our lives. Maybe someone sends us a card, or someone takes us somewhere we need to go, someone provides food or takes us out, or there's so many wonderful blessings that come into our lives. And we need to remember, yes, our family is very important. They give us the spiritual, the physical birth, but the Guru and God give us the spiritual birth. And as we prayed earlier, we pray to friend, beloved God, and Swamiji as friend and guide. And so God is our friend and close to our heart and our best friend. I remember when I came to Ananda, before I came here, I knew there were people like me. I knew I had a spiritual family. I knew there were Guru Bhais, but I hadn't found them yet. And I was practicing these techniques, meditation and all, but I didn't have one friend. And I didn't know then that Master was my deepest friend. And I hadn't met Swamiji. But in my mind, I just kept asking, who is my family? Where are my divine friends? And then I went to Ananda, and I met Swami Kriyananda. I met many, this was in 1978, I met many friends from the past. And I recognized them from the look in their eyes, from their energy, their vibrations, the joy that they had. And when I first went to India, I didn't know anyone there either, except Swamiji and the Ananda people who were there. And I remember my very first class, I went down to the temple there, and there was a group of Indian devotees there. And it was my first class, and I felt like I knew people in the room, like I felt an inner connection with them, that they were friends from the past. And Master said through the eyes, you can see, you can recognize your friends. And we're all here to help each other to find God. And there are so many ways, as Master Swamiji said to Master, that I have come here not for what I can get, but for what I can give to you. And for all of us, if we think, what can I do? We're here to serve, to help our friends. How can I serve? How can I help? I was just in Los Angeles visiting my mother, and I was staying at the ashram there with the devotees. What a beautiful family. And how wonderful it was to be there, to meditate together, to share meals, to go to the beach, to talk about spiritual things together. It made the trip so beautiful. And they kept saying, now how can we help you? What do you need? Where would you like to go? What special foods that you haven't had would you like to have? And that's divine friendship. And I was thinking, there's so many things. I probably couldn't have even gotten here to America without friends. I probably, couldn't have gotten to LA without friends. I couldn't have done so many things in my life. I couldn't be in India without friends. And friends, Divine Mother and Master come to us to help us through our friends. And our job, too, is to serve as best as we can to help those who Divine Mother has given us as friends. I remember a very beautiful time, and I wasn't there, but I heard the story from many of the longtime Ananda people, where Swamiji was going on a trip. I think he was going back to Europe. And he asked everyone, he said this to the members of Ananda, he said, all these years I have been blessing you. Tonight, I would like each of you to come up and bless me. And everyone was startled, like, what do I have to give? And but he wanted people to know that you also have to give back. And everyone blessed Swamiji for his trip. It's such a beautiful image. And for each one of us, just always think, how can we help? How can we bless others? And it's nothing that is familiar. Friendship should be very respectful, very dignified, held in the highest. It shouldn't be something that you take the person for granted. I remember I asked Swamiji once, we were talking about friendship in the early days of Ananda India, and he was discussing with us different things about that. And I asked him afterwards, I said, Swamiji, how close were you to Master? And he said, we were very close, but it wasn't physically close. There was always a distance where I just held him in the highest respect. And I even asked him, I said, did you ever hug Master? He said, oh, never. He said, all we ever did was touch his feet. And for all of us with Swamiji, there was always that respectful distance where we knew that God and Guru were coming through him to us. And we never wanted to lower our image of Swamiji to a place that was satisfactory for us. We always wanted to hold that friendship, divine friendship in the highest. And for all of us, whatever we do for our friends, we should remember that God has given them to us and that we are serving God in that way. And finally, how does friendship grow? Well, my closest friends are people I serve with and meditate with, really. And I don't even see them, hardly. I mean, I've been in India for so many years, and longtime friends at Ananda I never see. But there's a bond from meditation, from service, from doing projects together, from devotion, kirtans together, and many things that bond within us never can be broken. And sometimes your friends leave. I saw many people who I was close with that came to Ananda and they left. But Master's chant, I will be thine always. And you just have to hold Master's hand and know that he's taking you to where you can merge with him. Even if everyone leaves, that you stay with God and Gurus. So I'd like to ask Natindra to come on now. We have a few questions for tonight, and we'll try to answer them.
Thank you, Dhyana. I'll just share the list of questions. Maybe the first question is, I have some friends from the past that I still see, but I don't feel uplifted with them anymore. So should I let them go?
Well, it depends. If you feel pulled down by someone, I wouldn't be around them very much. You can be cordial, but maybe see them some of the time, but environment is stronger than will. And if you're going out, you're doing the things you used to do with your old friends, you're going to the clubs, you're going to a party, you're going to places where I remember I was somewhere, and it wasn't a bad place, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And I thought, why am I here? I shouldn't be here. I felt Master say, why are you there? And so you'll feel in your heart when there are people that maybe they were your friends in high school, maybe in junior high school, or maybe in college, but right now you're on a different path. And you have to honor that path and honor what the Guru has taught and honor the practices. And sometimes a friend will come onto the path. So maybe give them a talk or a music or a book or something like that, and see if they're interested. Some people are interested, but if you feel your energy is being drawn down, I would be very careful. I remember I had a very good friend, and this was in India early on, and I felt, she moved on to another path, and I felt so sad. And I remember I asked Swamiji, well, should I try to help that person or bring them back or talk with them? And he just said no, because he could see that I was going to be pulled down. In fact, he said no, never. And I was shocked. I thought, wow. But he could see that influence wasn't good for me. And I had a particular role and responsibility, and I just couldn't be pulled down. And so be careful. Don't think, I have to help everyone. You can pray for them. Pray for them. Ask the masters to bless them. But if you feel your energy starting to sink, it would be best to avoid. Yeah.
Dhyananji, there is a related question. It's a live question. So how do we deal with those close members of our extended family who do not like to be friends and maybe who only have negativity to offer? So how can we bless them?
What is the second part? They don't like what?
They don't like to be friends and they only have negativity to offer. So how can we bless them?
Yeah, there are a lot of people around like that. And I would my way is to pray to Master to help them, and that I don't put myself in that environment a lot. Just as much as you need to be there, but pray for them, be positive if you can. If you have to be in that kind of environment, like when I was in Los Angeles, I was meditating at the ashram and doing a lot of things with the Guru Bhais there. And so Los Angeles didn't bother me hardly at all. But if I had been in a hotel and, in an Uber car and all that, I just would have been run down. And so surround yourself when you're in environments like that with good books, with good music, with people who are, bring friends to your house or Guru Bhais, or get online and watch the different talks. Or when I was in Los Angeles this time, and the whole time I've been there, I've been showing the videos of India. This is what we do there. These are the centers. This is the Brindaban program, the project. This is the orphanage. I'm just showing people. And so if you can be more stronger than the other person, then it really does help. And doing things like that helps. Here's a book I read. Can I read you something out of it? Here's a talk. Let me play a little bit of this talk. Here's a video of Swami Kriyananda. Would you like to see it? Instead of being passivity, you're just going to get sucked into a negative vortex. So positivity doesn't just mean mentally. It means do something. Do something that will lift the energy up. And then people will, they feel something, even if they don't say it, they sense that there's some goodness there. And a lot of times I found people are just too either worried or fearful or shy or something that they just don't say. But they're feeling something there. And we can't be totally alone, but Master surely has given us. I mean, that Los Angeles ashram is vibrant. There's a lot of goodness happening there. There's a lot of prayers, there's a lot of meditation, there was a lot of joy. We were around that table having dinner every night and laughing, and it was like a bubble of joy in the middle of Los Angeles. And I grew up in Los Angeles. I know it's not a bubble of joy, but this was certainly Master's vibration. So try to create around you in your house with the music and the books and people coming in, and it helps to have, like every day my guru bhais would drive me out to my mom's and bring me back, and when they drive out, I'd say, well, just come in, say hello, and that would just bring such a wonderful energy there. And so just do things that help to increase the positivity in the room, in the place, in the house, and do your best, and then Master takes care of the rest, really. But you can't be passive or you just get sucked into a negative vortex. I hope that helps.
Yes, Dhyanaji, thank you. We have another live question, Dhyanaji.
Okay, great.
This is how to make good friends at workplace because it's a very hostile environment.
Acha. Yeah, that's hard, But maybe think of Master prayed for a friend. Remember when in his house there was no room to meditate. So he prayed for a friend when he was a boy who had a house that had space for meditation. That was Tulsi Bose. So Divine Mother showed him that boy. And I remember he met him, and then they had a race, and then he took him to his, Tulsi Bose took Master to his house, and Master he touched him, and he went into a deep state. They became very good friends. In that house, Hashima told us that they would levitate in that room, as youngsters. So I would say, pray for friends. You'd never know. I've seen so many people like wearing a bangle or wearing a pendant or something that represented Master. And you never know who's out there at your workplace. And so pray for if you have a strong magnetism, you will draw those kind of people. If you have a weak and negative magnetism, you will draw those kind of people. So strengthen yourself and pray to the Masters to bring me friends. Bring me my friends of the past. Bring me those who I have met before. I know somebody's around here, and you usually find someone. There's usually somebody who's a yogi who meditates at your job. You don't know it yet. So don't say there's nobody. Just try. And somehow the situation could change at your job anyway, even without that person. So, but here again, you have to be active. You can't, everything's bad, it's terrible, I'll never find a friend, nobody likes me, and you won't. But as soon as you put out positive energy, get your sadhana strong, get some Shakti moving, get in the light more and more. Do Om Tat Sat before you go into your job. Chant Om Guru in your mind when you're there. And put a picture of Master if you have to, in the drawer, if you can't put it up by your computer, or, do things that just bring them. Those things are like magnets, and they bring the right vibrations, the right circumstances, and the right people. Without them, it's a tough life. I tell you, I wouldn't go out there without armor. Those are spiritual armor, and you need it, especially in these days.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We have two more questions.
Okay.
The first one is, I don't make friends easily, so how can I have more spiritual friends?
Yeah, you've got to put out some energy. You just can't sit on the couch and wish for spiritual friends. You've got to be a friend. send people messages. I love to send positive messages on WhatsApp to people. Someone's done a good job. People say, it wasn't a good job. Just thank people. Be positive. Oh, that was a wonderful class. Or thank you for the greeting card or something. Or send things to people. Think about them. Pray for them. Pray for somebody who's in the hospital. Pray for someone whose child is in the hospital. Just always be thinking, how can I do something? Not who's going to do something for me. And I tell you, on this trip to America, I've been helped all along the way. And I know it's Divine Mother. And all along the way, somebody was there. And someone, yesterday, I have to tell you, now I haven't told anyone this, but yesterday, someone gave me an original copy of the Autobiography of a Yogi. Now, that is just, what a great gift. Someone had given it to them. They live here at Ananda Village. They said, Dhyana, I think you need to have this book. And I was so grateful. And the first thing I said was, I'm going to take this back to India and I'm going to share it. We don't have it there. I want people to be able to look at it, to touch it. And so now why did that come to me? Probably because I want to share. So you see the difference rather than no one will ever know, I'll keep it in my house. And, this isn't the way you draw friends and good circumstances and all that you need. And so just always be thinking, what can I do? What can I do? How can I help? Who can I call? Who can I write? Who needs help? And then you'll always be taken care of, and friends will come from everywhere.
Thank you, Janaji. Last question is, if a friend leaves the path, what should I do? Can I try to help them or not?
Yeah, I think I sort of answered that, but it depends on the circumstances. If someone is kind of wanting to stay and you can talk with them, then that's one thing. But if they say, no, I'm leaving, and they're disgruntled and they run off, and that's not, what can you do really but pray for them and hope that, I just pray that whatever's right for them happen. And leave it up to God and Guru. If you're not strong enough, don't jump in the deep water. I wouldn't do that. You'll just sink with them. And so you have to be strong in yourself. And if Swamiji told me not to try to help that person, my God, he told to me, he didn't try to help them. He did at the beginning, but then he said, well, that's what's happening. So you try a little bit, and if you get burned, you just say, okay, it's fine. But don't lose your own spiritual life over someone who's not interested. It just would be a wasted lifetime. You don't want that. So I hope that makes sense.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. God bless you all, and thank you, Natindra. God bless. Have a nice day there.